Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy!
That's me, Tiberius!
Welcome to the Tiberius Show today, and I'm your host, Tiberius Boy! And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Today's is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk to a chaplain and founder of an outdoor adventures company. Do you have any idea what a Christian outdoor adventures founder does? Well, neither do I. Well, let's find out. Let me introduce our next guest, the one, the only, the amazing Micael Batenburg of Back to Basics Adventures. Thank you for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Tiberius. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today.
No problem. Okay, so you are listed as a founder and chaplain of Back to Basics Adventures. For us that have no idea what that means, can you explain it?
Sure. Well, a chaplain simply helps lead individuals and come alongside individuals as a spiritual leader to help individuals find their gifts, talents, and blessings so that they can serve one and serve others and serve Jesus Christ. And an outdoor ministry is a place that you can go to that encourages you and inspires you with all the wonderful gifts and talents and blessings that we've been gifted with in nature. And so what we do is we provide space for individuals to come and be inspired all across the world, from base camping Mount Everest to paddling and fishing the local waters of Florida, to climbing and whitewater rafting in the hills of Tennessee and abroad. So whatever inspires you outdoors, we'd like to have the opportunity to coordinate that for you and inspire you as a guest.
Nice. So when did you get the idea of creating this company, and how long did it take to build it?
So we've been doing it for about 12 years now. Before that, I was in corporate America. I worked for a couple of Fortune 100 companies and realized that position and possession really weren't all that they were cracked up to be, and that the greatest things in life really aren't things. It's really how we impact other people's lives. And so I kind of had a Jonah 180 transformation in my life and went from what I consider to be success, or what the world would consider success, to significance. And after doing some proof of concepting and doing some trials at traditional kids camps and so forth to see how the outdoors is being utilized, I decided to point my direction toward inspiring adults and kids in the outdoors with Back to Basics.
Mm-hmm. So how'd you come up with the name of Back to Basics Adventures?
Well, it's real simple. In getting back to basics is getting away from a lot of the things that distract us and going back to nature and being still and hearing his voice and enjoying all of the creations, like I mentioned before, that are gifts to us outdoors, whether it's animals or resources, fishing, hiking, camping, all those basic things that we were blessed and gifted with, and being able to use those things as inspiration for our lives. And so since getting back to basics really means getting and going and doing things from a basic perspective, that's how Back to Basics name came to be.
Nice. So when did you know that this was the time for the job for you?
Well, I always felt a peace and joy when I was in the outdoors growing up. When I was young, my brother and I used to go and we'd, make forts, and we'd go camping and fishing and hiking and so forth. And since I had a corporate father that was rather non-existent, I really latched on to my relationship with my brother and felt the most peace when I was outdoors. And so when I had decided to leave corporate America and do something different, I was led to doing it in a place that I always felt peace and joy.
Mm-hmm. So kind of tell me, how does it work? Do you just talk to people and give them a tour of the grounds and speak about it? Or does someone else do that for you?
Well, it all depends. I mean, a lot of times I'm involved and I want to, help to consult or be a concierge to our guests, or we also have staff that do it as well. But that is the main part of what we do, is making sure that whatever we're creating for those guests is custom designed for the guests. So everything from the accommodations that they'd like to stay in, to the food that they'd like to eat, the activities that they'd like to experience, any programming objectives that they have while they're with us. We like to make sure that what we're doing is not a canned program where we have a box and the guests have to fit into the box. We want them to create that box. So we love for our guests to spend time speaking with us and kind of telling us what that vision looks like, so that we can execute that on their behalf.
Well, is this for groups or just individuals?
It's primarily for groups. We love small groups. We think it gives individuals an opportunity to come alongside of one another, to do things together, to grow community, to grow their relationships. So most of what we do is groups. We do, on occasion, we'll do what we call sign-up trips, where, like 4th of July, we'll have people sign up and paddle underneath the fireworks. We had about 150 people our last event that we did that with. And that was, again, just for people that were interested in having that experience. But most of the time, the folks that we host are folks that either know each other or want to get to know each other, and not just strangers coming together.
Well, aren't most outdoor adventures expensive? Like, what does it cost?
It really all depends. I mean, you can go as bargain basement as hammock camping or tent camping, which is very, very inexpensive. You can do things like hiking, the Appalachian Trail out here in Tennessee, or waterfalls, or tubing, or floating the river, which again, very, very inexpensive. Or you could do something like I'd mentioned earlier, base camping Mount Everest. You're gonna spend anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000. So it really depends on what the experience is that the group wants to have, and the price tag is related to that. And if they want gourmet meals with executive chefs, it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive than if they want hot dogs and hamburgers.
Yeah. So what are the different types of adventures that can be done at Back to Basis? Are they all Christian based?
Well, they're all based on the fact that we want to give people a space to be inspired. We want to give individuals an opportunity to grow together in relationships with one another. We believe that giving individuals the capability to practice solitude, silence, scripture, and Sabbath is very beneficial to individuals. But again, Christian-based and religion-based are two completely different things. Christianity is not about religion. Christianity is about relationships. And unless you're a hermit, I think most people would agree that relationships are a good thing. So if connecting relationships with religion is the way that you would describe it, then I would say, yeah, all of our adventures are Christian based. They're certainly not going to be based around morals and values that fall outside of ones that we believe have levels of morality and behavior that are acceptable to the masses.
Well, what are the most memorable adventures that you have embarked in?
Wow, all of them are memorable to a point, just because the ones that I'm participating in, I have an opportunity to get to know people on a deeper level. As I always say to folks when they're coming out, that the magic really happens around meals. As my wife coined the phrase, we create community one bite at a time, and around campfires. So, I couldn't say that one was more memorable than another, because they're all very, very special. I mean, obviously, some of the activities and events and adventures that we do are more exciting than maybe other ones are.
That's true.
But I would say, at the end of the day, I really enjoy all of them, no matter how adventurous they end up being.
Well, now here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we are back here talking with Micael Batenburg. Micael helps people seek servant leadership and go back to teachings through outdoor adventures. So, Micael, we now know what Back to Basics is all about and how you help people through these adventures. And, well, can you give some examples of which are your personal favorite adventures?
Well, I mean, personally, I really enjoy hunting. So I would say many of the hunting adventures are very exciting to me. But again, I enjoy the outdoors. So whether it's climbing, hiking, fishing, hunting, paddling, shooting, I really enjoy them all. And it's the people that I enjoy the most. The adventures are what I consider to be the hook, but the real value of what we do is based on the relationships that are all grown and expanded by sharing those adventures that we're doing together when we're around the campfire and after we leave and are connecting, hopefully for a long period of time.
Well, that's pretty cool. Well, do you have any adventures that's just for kids specifically?
We don't have any that are specific for kids. Kids are always welcome at our events, but we're not a kids camp where people would just drop off their kid. We just don't feel that has a lot of value to it, because if your parent is doing something else and you're being inspired, how do you connect? So we really love to have parents and kids come together and experience it together so that when they leave, they can continue what they started when they were with us.
Mm-hmm. Well, has anyone ever had an accident in one of the adventures? And if so, what did you do?
No accidents, knock on wood, per se. I mean, obviously, people get skinned or, fall down or things of that nature, but nothing significant. And we pray that that stays consistent. But we do pride ourselves on safety and making sure that individuals know how to do what we're doing as far as the adventures are concerned, and that we've got individuals around them that can help them navigate those adventures safely.
Mm-hmm. Well, what are the things you talk about on your adventures to bring out servant leadership in people?
So, as I mentioned before, I like to have individuals focus on the gifts, the talents, and the blessings that each of us were created with, and having people identify those individually and be able to hone in on them so that they are doing jobs that they love to do and that they were created to do, that they are living their lives inspired and not just spending time doing something for the wrong reasons or for reasons that aren't any more fulfilling than just receiving a paycheck.
Yeah. Well, do you have any animals on these adventures? And if so, which animals?
Well, obviously, a lot of wild animals, depending on where we're at, are part of what we do because we interact with nature. As far as domesticated animals, we do have some dogs, and we've got other animals, barnyard animals, for education as well as subsistence: chickens, bees, rabbits, goats, sheep, things of that nature. Nothing crazy. But stuff that, again, we can enjoy from an educational perspective and also utilize for sustenance and nourishment.
Mm-hmm. Well, what states do you travel to for your adventures?
Well, within the 50 states, we travel extensively, depending upon what the adventure and activity is that our guests want to do. And we also travel abroad. So, as I mentioned, we've base camped Mount Everest. We've gone surfing down in Costa Rica. We've gone to the Holy Land. We will and can do just about whatever a group wants to do. Now, obviously, you don't need to go to every one of the 50 states to be able to achieve that. It's more region based on again those activities that the group is wanting to experience. But I know our hope and our prayer would be that there's a back to basics opportunity for anyone within the United States to be able to experience within a short distance to where they live, and we consider that to be anywhere from 3 to 5 hour drive.
Well, why has this project been so much of a passion for you?
I guess it's a passion because for the first part of my life until I was 45, I was really focused on position and possession, and worldly successes, and now I'm focused on eternal impact and significance, and trying to inspire individuals so that they have an opportunity to not make the same mistakes that I made in chasing things that really don't have eternal value.
If you had one idea you would like your adventures to leave with, what would it be and why?
Oh, great question. I'd like everybody to leave inspired, uh, to focus on something greater, which means utilizing the gifts, talents, and blessings that they were created with to be able to live out their lives, focusing on receiving and experiencing joy as much as possible.
Now, what is the youngest age an adventurer can be?
Well, adventures can be any age. We don't have an age restriction. Obviously, as I had mentioned, since their parents would be with them, we put that on the parents and their responsibility to feel comfortable with the fact that whatever we're doing would be appropriate for that group and that age. And we've had babies that have participated in our adventures. Now, obviously, they didn't have much participation other than just attendance. But yeah, we encourage all ages to come and be able to experience what we have to offer, and hopefully continue to do these on a regular basis together with family and friends and colleagues and clients, to be able to grow their relationships with one another.
Now, my dad and I are very much allergic to manual labor, and are all activities labor intensive?
I wouldn't say labor intensive as much as they can be physical. Again, we have a number of activities that are very non-labor intensive. I mean, we can put you on the river in a tube, and you can enjoy it just like a lazy river at a hotel, but with a heck of a lot better view. If you wanted to throw lines and do some fishing, not seriously intense as far as physicality is concerned. Again, it's completely up to the guest as to far as how adventurous they want to be, or how physical they want to be or not want to be. And some individuals, just like to go for a walk in the woods, or go see a beautiful vista, or a waterfall or something like that.
Yeah.
Is not necessarily something that would exert a lot of energy and expense.
Yeah. Well, does it require a lot of training to be a chaplain?
To be trained to be a chaplain, I mean, it doesn't take as much training as it does diligence and study. To be a chaplain at from a broad perspective is really learning to listen, is probably the biggest thing that I had to learn, and then once listening, to empathize and to provide appropriate feedback that helps encourage and inspire and lift up those individuals with whatever it is, whether it's celebrating something, or coming through a struggle of something. It's really coming alongside an individual with intentionality, transparency, empathy, and compassion.
Well, what's the hardest part about doing this type of work?
I would say the hardest part of doing it is the fact that it's always different. So it's never going to be the same thing twice for us or our guests. And so, unlike other similar type of organizations where they have a program that has kind of a cadence to it, and you can be predictable. With what we do, it's very unpredictable, and so you always have to be comfortable with being able to pivot and think on your feet, and be able to be have the opportunity to have a nimbleness to you.
Well, what's the craziest thing that's happened while you were working with Back to Basics?
Wow, the craziest thing that's happened. That's a hard one to. I think having individuals that become so comfortable with the surroundings and the security that they have to open up and be very, very transparent it blows my mind sometimes, and it warms my heart, because it allows individuals to not have a wall or a shield up, trying to protect themselves, but really feeling a lack of vulnerability, and a desire to really connect authentically with others.
Okay, so how does doing this work make the world a better place?
Well, I think, the world can be a much better place if we stop thinking about ourselves and thinking about others. I like to share the idea that, and this is not mine, it's stolen from Rick Warren, but humility is not thinking less of yourself, but it's thinking of yourself less. And that's a big mantra that we try to impose and encourage in people. And I think that if we thought that way more often, that the world would be a better place.
Well, what is the story of that one guest on your adventures that you will never forget?
Probably anytime I have an opportunity to come alongside of somebody, to allow them to do something for the first time, is always unforgettable, because it gives me the selfish opportunity to experience it through someone else's eyes for the first time. And it's always very, very heartwarming and very uplifting when I have that opportunity to do that. So I don't think I could pinpoint a specific instance, but again, when I have that opportunity to be a part of somebody doing something for the first time, whether it's harvesting an animal, or navigating down a whitewater river, or
Yeah.
or climbing, navigating a climb or a rappel, it's something that I will never forget, and hopefully that they'll never forget as well.
Yeah. So, who can you say was the person that helped drive your passion the most?
Driving my passion the most, I would have to say God, because He created my passion for these things. But as far as a person here on earth that drove my passion, it would probably be my mother. She was always supporting me, and believing in me, and encouraging me to do things
Okay.
that brought me joy. So yeah, I would have to say my mother, and probably now my wife, right?
What advice would you give to my listeners if they wanted to grow up and run an outdoor ministry?
If they wanted to go into outdoor ministry, I would highly encourage them to do so. If they feel that that's the way that they were created, and they feel joy in the outdoors, and they're inspired by it, and they would like to come alongside others in the outdoors, I couldn't recommend it more highly. It's a wonderful opportunity to be able to take a free gift that was given to us, and make a living out of it, and help to enlighten individuals, and be inspired by seeing individuals come and experience these type of things. So I would say go for it, and most importantly, though, to have a Barnabas, or a mentor in your life that is leading them, and being able to help them through the tough times, because it certainly isn't easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Well, what was the best advice you've ever received, and who gave you that advice?
Gosh, I've gotten a lot of good advice. I've been very, very fortunate to have a number of individuals in my life that I've um, been willing to glean insight and knowledge and experience from. I think it's something that everybody should try to do, to find individuals to learn from and to be mentored by. I'd have to pick like a specific topic as to who that individual was, whether it was financially. I mean, my father probably gave me the greatest advice financially, which was, never accrue any debt if possible. Spiritual advice, to focus on serving God and serving others rather than serving yourself. And I could go on and on and on with wonderful life lessons that individuals have inspired me with. Don't worry about trying to lead people to Christ. That's not your job. Your job is to share your time, your talents, your testimony, and your treasures with others, and allow the Holy Spirit to lead them to Christ. It's not my job to try to make people Christian. My job is just to show them what Christ has done for me, and if they're inspired by that, allow the Holy Spirit to inspire them to look further into it.
Mm-hmm. So what was the very first job that you've ever had?
Gosh, the first job I ever had, I mean, besides like shoveling snow or cutting grass when I was your age probably, I would say, I worked at a marina. I worked in restaurants. I worked at a car wash. I started working when I was about 9 years old, and I've been working ever since. But until I was 45, I was strictly working for an ability to generate income, and so I did a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything you learned from those jobs that helped you be a better outdoor ministry owner?
Yeah, I think listening to others, having a consortium of individuals to be able to provide you with feedback. Don't try to do it alone. Be patient. Realize that it's not always going to happen on your timetable, and make sure that everything that you do, you try to do it with excellence, and don't ever subject yourself to go against your morals and your values and your ethics, to be able to get what you want.
Mm-hmm. Well, what message do you want to tell children all over the world about doing the work that you do?
I would just simply like to recommend that people focus on what brings them joy. We're here for such a short period of time, even though it seems like a long time. It's really not. And if we waste time doing things that don't bring us joy, I think it's really a shame, because if we can maximize the time that we're here to build our character and be able to enjoy every day by doing things that we love to do, I think that there would be a lot less struggle and strife and turmoil and depression and sadness and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Well, on that note, let's take a quick break to pay some bills. And we are back here with outdoor ministry owner Micael Batenburg. Let's get into it. Well, my dad said that you have a donation page that helps your adventures help others. So, how does it work?
Yeah, it's a great question. As a former law enforcement officer, which was another thing that I did, I really developed a passion for first responders and those who serve others as a career, whether it's military or law enforcement or firefighters, caregivers, pastors, and so forth. And really thought it would be nice to be able to allow people that have a heart to support those type of individuals for all they do for us, to be able to allow them to donate to a scholarship fund. And so individuals can do that, can donate finances to scholarship individuals that work in those sectors, to be able to allow them to have a back to basics adventure and to help cover costs if financial burdens occur. So then it also, for individuals that have uh, folks that they know that are in those industries and they'd like to recommend them as candidates to receive scholarship, we enable individuals to do that as well. So it's just a nice way to give back and to give people an opportunity to come alongside of us and be a part of what we do, supporting individuals that they may have a heart for.
Well, if you could go back 10 years and tell yourself something, what would it be?
I would say that I mentioned earlier, the greatest things in life aren't things, and that each of us were created with specific gifts, talents, and blessings, not for our own benefit, but to serve God and to serve others. And if we focus on those, that you will have a much more significant existence filled with much more joy, because there's a plan out there for all of us, and it's greater than what we could ever imagine. As long as we are true and honorable and have um, morals and values that align with helping serve the Lord and to serve others.
Got it. So what's the biggest mistake you ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
Well, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I call it paying the dumb tax, and I've paid a lot of tax. I could name a bunch of them. I was on reality TV. That was kind of a dumb thing. I d- didn't commit to a number of relationships that I had that were wonderful blessings because I was selfish and only thinking of myself, and I did
Okay.
not honor individuals that I could have and should have. I
Got it.
squandered a lot of blessings that were given to me. I've got a laundry list, Tiberius. We could be here for quite some time if I
Okay.
was to go through the mistakes that I've made. But hopefully, I've learned from them and gained wisdom and can hopefully pass some of this along to others to encourage them to try to avoid.
So when you're not working, what do you do for fun?
Yeah, well, we work pretty much around the clock. When we're not working, we love the outdoors. So we're typically just doing what we do within the ministry for ourselves, and we're not hosting guests, but we're enjoying it with our family and our friends. I love to be in the outdoors. I love to go hiking and hunting and
Yeah.
fishing and camping and so forth. We love to travel, and that's all stuff that we do within the ministry as well. But so I guess when we're not working, we're simply doing similar things that we do for the ministry, but just doing it without having uh, individuals that we don't know, at least initially. Doing it with
Got
folks
it.
that we know and love and want to continue to spend time with.
Well, do you play video games? And if you do, what's your favorite one?
I do not play video games. I
Not
came
even on your
from
phone?
not even on my phone.
Okay,
uh,
well, what's your favorite book to read then?
well, I mean, besides the greatest book ever, I've read a number of great books. Quite recently, the Ruthless Elimination of Hurry is a great book. One that inspired me to take a look at life in a different perspective, called Jesus Calling, was a great book. Again, I have a laundry list of books that I've read. For me, because I'm dyslexic, I don't actually read books traditionally. I listen to most of the content just because I can retain audio better than I can reading from a physical book. But those are some of the books that I've recently read, and I'd love to share more of them with you if you'd like at some point in time.
Okay. So, can you tell me that one story? You know, remember, this is a kid's show. But the one story, well, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
Oh gosh, the one story that I shouldn't tell. Um, I would say, well, I mean, being on the reality TV show was something that I don't share with too many individuals. Um,
Okay.
what other story shouldn't I tell?
Well, is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you?
Other than I'd love the opportunity to get to know you and your father and your family better, and any guest that is inspired by what we've discussed and would like to come out in the outdoors and have us plan a trip and an adventure for them. That's I it's one of my blessings is hospitality and servanthood. So we love to come alongside of people and enjoy the outdoors together with folks that we know and folks that we'd like to get to know.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you have a Facebook or website for my listeners that want to follow you?
Yes, many different social media destinations. Our main page right now is BACK the number 2 basicsadventures.com. We also have back to basicsadventures.org. On those pages, we've got LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and others. That's not my forte. We have a division that is much younger than mine, me rather, and is much more astute with the technology. But obviously, it's a great media to be able to share experiences that people have had and be able to share what we
Mm-hmm.
do.
Well, what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
When are available dates for you to come up and enjoy what we have up here in Tennessee?
Well, when are the available dates?
Right now, we have some dates available. Summer is not as busy for us as the fall and the spring. But it really, we would certainly, work with you to be able to accommodate your schedule if you truly decided that you'd like to come up and have a back to basics experience. It would be our pleasure.
Well, thank you, Michael, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
Oh, sure. Although I'm not a great math person, calculators are key for me. But yeah, I'd be happy to.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
Tiberius's favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, Michael, for helping me with Math Corners. This week, we're going to do some more multi-step word problems. My dad is always good at finding new problems for me to solve. Today, we're going to talk about t-shirts.
All right.
Well, Elizabeth is making t-shirts with the word fart on it so that she could sell them. She can buy t-shirts in packs of 5 for $3.65 in packs, or for 2 for $2.12. Well, how much money does she save by buying 20 t-shirts at the better price? Well, if she sells them for $5 each, well, what is her profit? Well, first this is a real problem because we do know that people do have to buy t-shirts with funny words on them. So, let's dive into this. So, to solve this issue, you first have to figure out how much of each pack of shirts would be with 20 shirts. So, 20 shirts in 5 packs would be 20 divided by 5, or 4 packs. So then you would times that by $3.65, and that's... Oh, where's my calculator? $14.60. So now you have to figure out the 20 shirts in 2 packs. So 20 divided by 2, or 10 packs, would be at $2.12, which is $21.20. So to determine the savings, you would subtract the $14.60 from the $21.20, and then you would get $6.60 in savings. So next you have to figure out how much she would make at $5 each. So 20 times $5 is $100. And finally, to find the profit, you subtract the $14.60 from the $100, and you get $85.40 profit. I think they missed the cost of the printing and advertising and distribution, though. So, Michael, did you ever sell t-shirts when you were a kid?
Not when I was a kid, but obviously with the ministry, we did have shirts that we had printed up and made available to guests and so forth. Helped us brand, and they also were SPF shirts, so good for fishing and so forth. So I know a little bit about being in the merch business.
Nice. Well, my teacher said that I would use math every day. How did you use math in your work?
Oh, you have to use math all the time. I mean, being able to determine budgets and pricing and, cost and overhead and, total cost of ownership math is obviously a very, very important subject. Fortunately, my wife is a whiz at math. So she doesn't require the tools that I require to be able to be as astute as you need to be, because one mistake and you can hurt yourself for a much have a much bigger impact negatively.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for your help with Math Corners. And now it's time for the Heart of a Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the Heart of a Lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and ability. This week, we're going to talk about obedience. For me, I think obedience is being fully committed to doing what is pleasing to God. The qualities of obedience are compliance with a good attitude and respect for the laws. You know when someone is obedient when they follow instructions willingly and thoroughly. So all of you know that this is not my favorite virtue. No one really wants to be told what to do. We like the freedom to do what we want, and my dad gave me a task to do when he was at a client, and I was going to unpack and build a computer monitor all by myself. This might be even fun. But, well, I really wanted to sit on the client's couch and watch videos on my phone, so I opened up the box and started to put the monitor together really, really fast. But when I asked my dad for help, he said I already had everything I needed to complete the task, and I complained a little but still got it done. This is obedience, but not with a good attitude. My dad gave me $2 for building the monitor, but told me that it would have been $5. Hey, but like any job, if you complain or do part of a job, you get less pay, so you can get fired. My dad won't fire me. Or would he? So, Michael, did you see or use obedience at all this week?
Every day with a 3-year-old, you can bet that I have to be challenged with obedience on a regular basis, pretty much from 6 a.m. when my son gets up until 8 or 9 o'clock until he goes to bed. My challenge with obedience is trying to encourage him to be obedient more often, but he is a very strong-willed son.
Well, of all of the Heart of a Lion virtues, which is the one that you see the most?
The one I'd like to see the most is integrity. I think it is the core of where humanity needs to be focused on, and I think it's what separates us from those that are morally and ethically aligned, and those that aren't.
We should always try and be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Amen. Absolutely.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Micael Batenburg for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we can learn a lot about being a chaplain and running an outdoor ministry.
Thank you, Tiberius. It was my pleasure. I truly appreciate the time that you've given me and the opportunity to share a little bit about what we do and how we serve others.
No problem. And do you mind giving your social media and website again?
Sure. It's back, BACK, the number 2, basicsadventures.org and back to basicsadventures.com. And with that, you can get access to all of our other social pages that it's on those websites.
Sweet. And also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show. And I would like to thank WWPR 1490 AM, KINT 98, Soul Radio 24/7, Easy Way TV, and all the other stations that air my show. Please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Michael, are you subscribed yet?
I am not, but it is my intention to do so immediately.
Good. Oh, and be sure to leave a comment and tell me what you think of my latest episode. Also, be sure to listen to us next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.